were many. Now we are few. Hunters, killers of the world's filth. Witchers, the ultimate killing machines. Among us, a legend. The one they call Geralt of Rivia, the White Wolf.
Hello, this is James, the senior producer on GamesRadar.com, and today I'm joined by Phil Iwaniuk from Official PlayStation Magazine.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, Phil. We are here to talk about The Witcher 3, something we both went and played up in Scotland just last week.
The Frozen North.
Up in the Frozen North. So I guess the big question is, The Witcher 3, the story, where does it pick up from? Does it lead on from the other two games?
It does. So, as I understand it, this is set just after The Witcher 2, so that was really about Geralt's own personal quests. He was being framed for the murders of a bunch of kings. That's all been dealt with. Now it's more about Geralt's relationship with Ciri, who was recently announced as a playable character. She has powers similar to Geralt, so Geralt is a witcher. He's sort of a magical being, a bit of a mutant. Humans in the realm aren't quite sure about him, and they're not quite sure about Ciri either, so Geralt has been training up Ciri as a sort of apprentice, and she's in possession of some magical powers that are very valuable, and so nasty things from around the world are hunting in on her. The Wild Hunt, you might say,
yes.
As in the subtitle of the game. So they're after her, and Geralt doesn't want the Wild Hunt to get her powers because that would be bad for all of humanity, and basically he's a nice bloke despite the fact that everyone in the world isn't quite sure about him because his eyes are a bit weird.
Right. Now, I guess there's going to be quite a few people coming to this series as like a fresh start, as you know, it's the first time it's been on PS4 and Xbox One. It's been on PC before, obviously. So for new players coming in, what would you sort of say that this is like in terms of gameplay style?
I suppose you could draw parallels to Dragon Age, couldn't you? I mean, it's open world, so Dragon Age Inquisition is set in kind of self-contained hub areas which you travel between on a map. This is open world. It's an enormous open world, and it's 35 times bigger than The Witcher 2's areas combined. The developers love to mention that whenever they can. So yeah, I mean, it's very much story-driven. Combat is quite challenging. There's a big focus on dodging and rolling and parrying and things like that. But really, it's a very traditional narrative-driven RPG with lots of side quests and talking to people as well as slashing at things and using your magical powers. And it's also set within a world created by a Polish novelist called Andrzej Sapkowski. So the basis of the game's lore, which is quite unique, comes from there, and developer CD Projekt have expanded on that for this game. So the open world is sort of a chance for that developer to really spread the lore over a wider area and give players who have been with the series for a longer time chance to explore that and give this kind of really rich, developed world to new players as well.
So I was going to ask you what it looked like, but obviously we can see what it looks like on screen. We should mention that this footage you're seeing is from a very high-end PC.
Yes, probably like the size of a room with about 12 graphics cards or less allied. On console, it does look a bit different currently. The game's still in development, obviously. It's been delayed. So I played on PS4 and it looked comparable to this, but it was running probably sub 30 frames. The level of detail wasn't quite as strong. The anti-aliasing wasn't quite as smooth. It does still look pretty incredible, though. I mean, it looks notably a lot better than Dragon Age Inquisition, say, on PS4. How was it on Xbox?
Yeah, I played it on Xbox One and found the same kind of things. Like, it was dropping frames in high detailed areas. There was a bit of screen tearing and stuff. Something that actually the developers said they were found that it could have been the TVs we were using.
Sure.
I don't know if that's something they just said at the time. I mean, it's 2 months before the game's out, right? So they've got time to fix those kind of things.
This is what you'd hope, that they're spending the time getting it running at a nice... I mean, it was perfectly playable, but if you're drawn into this for the visuals, I think you'll want it to run a bit nicer than it does currently on consoles, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks amazing on consoles. I'd say it's probably one of the best looking PS4 games I've seen to date. when you're playing it, you'll be wanting to hit the share button lots and take lots of pictures because like every scene in it looks brilliant.
Absolutely.
But there are a couple of issues here and there that you'd expect to be fixed by the time it comes out. So I guess that's the kind of the improvements that they can make before then. Gameplay-wise, you've already mentioned it's a big open world. There is a main quest line, but there's also loads of other side activities to do, right?
Yeah, that's right, and they're remarkably fleshed out, actually. I didn't realise how involved I would be in this one little... Someone mentioned that the water supply was a bit dodgy in this village, so I went and talked to a man about it, and then went and spoke to someone else about it. Before I knew what I was doing, I'd gone to this well, I was doing some detective work, using my Witcher vision, which shows you things that are sort of indetectable to the naked eye, to see a sort of a crime scene.
It's a bit like Batman's detective vision, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, there was a crime scene that happened many years ago, and I was piecing it together. Then I got involved in this kind of quite complicated boss fight with patterns that I needed to learn. There was a potion you could make by gathering certain ingredients that would make the boss fight easier. It was also dependent on time of day.
Yeah, which you did it the wrong way around.
I did the wrong way around. So the boss was a noon wraith, and I thought, oh, well, let's skip the time. So you meditate and you can skip the time of day a bit like Skyrim. I thought, let's bring her out at noon if she's a noon wraith. That's actually when she's the most powerful, so should have done it at night. But yeah, it was quite complicated for a side quest, wasn't it? There was a lot to do. It felt like part of the main quest, which is a great accolade for the game, I suppose.
Yeah, there's loads of little things to do like that, and obviously everyone who's going to play it is going to take different paths and do different side quests, which gives everyone their own sort of take on the game, which is brilliant. So in summary then, what were your main good and bad points about what we've played so far?
Well, I think it was everything I'd hoped it would be. So, other than like the thing I was really looking forward to doing is just running in a straight line from one end of the world map to another, and we couldn't do that because we're in the prologue, which is a sort of self-contained area within the larger map, and that extends once you get past that prologue bit of story. So we didn't get to see like the full extent of the world and how beautiful it is and how much the environment's changed, things like that. Visually, it looks incredible. Gameplay it'll be familiar if you've played The Witcher 2 on Xbox 360 or on PC, but it's been evolved, it's been polished. There looks to be a lot more depth with crafting, upgrades, things like that. Combat's really satisfying. It's quite challenging, but the difficulty curve has been sorted from The Witcher 2, so it's not. I don't think you'll bang your head against the wall quite as much. And yeah, it looks absolutely beautiful. If they can iron out a couple of problems, the horse riding's weird as well.
I was going to say we should mention the horse.
We should. So
quite a big feature now in The Witcher, like having to ride around on a horse.
Yeah, I mean the world is that big that you will need a horse to get from A to B unless you want to spend an hour doing so. And at the moment, it looks like it's missing some animations or something like that. It feels a little bit jerky. The horse sort of glitches between when there's terrain of different levels. It's not happy there, and it's not that happy transferring from set paths. You can just set it down a road.
Yeah, you hold A on Xbox or X on PS4 when you're on the horse, and it will run along the path basically until you stop holding X.
Yeah, and if you see something that interests you and you try and veer off that path, it goes a bit weird.
Like a regular horse would, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe it's perfectly
creatures of
animated.
Habit. Maybe that's it. Yeah, maybe we're being too fussy. But other than that, it's absolutely fantastic. It's the game that was promised. I think that's the important thing, isn't it? And I'm glad it's been delayed. Hopefully, it will look a lot closer to this PC footage on consoles than it did when we saw it. I mean, there wasn't a massive chasm, was there? But
no, I mean when we turned this on, you said, "Wow, I'm going to need to buy a new PC."
Yeah. If it runs like this on PS4, I'll be very happy.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Phil. And for more on The Witcher 3 and its lead up to release, keep it here on Games Radar.
It must suffice.
Thinkamere cares if I'm clean.
The gentleman will refer to His Imperial Majesty by his full title or not at all.
That was a pretty sweet video, right? If you want to see more, go to Games Radar's YouTube page over here. Or if you want to read, maybe up your game a little bit, go to GamesRadar.com.